Thank you all for joining tonight. We had a little technical difficulty last week, and I certainly apologize for that. I actually had the computer blue screen on me during the presentation. We have had some issues this evening with, I think it's probably some bandwidth issues. So I apologize if it's a little bit choppy. Hopefully it clears up on occasion and you can get a gist of the conversations. I'm Kirk Russell, and I've got 4 guys that are joining me this evening representing the positions on the field. White hat comments will come from Mike Letofsky, a Denver area white hat. Umpire Scott Saucke. Scott was the last meeting as well. Doug Lowe will be talking about the wing mechanics on plays. And Matt Mill from Montrose, he's the area director in Montrose, is on this evening to talk about back judge stuff. And as we broke these punts down into the 4 phases, we're in the 3rd phase, which is the moment of time that the returner catches the ball and advances it. And it is a critical component of knowing when the ball's status is still in kick status and when it's not. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a boring window of time, and so we might reach into the other phases a little bit to watch some of these clips. And there's one that we're watching right now. It's an interesting clip. It doesn't happen but once in probably 20 years. And what we're going to see on the screen is the back judge retreating. And I don't know if it was a surprise, but the back judge comes up, sees
Hey, Kirk, can you hear me? Where did you go? Hey, Kirk, can you hear me? We can't hear you.
You got your mute on.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, something happened with the phone connection here. All right, sorry. Where did I lose you guys?
Something unusual happened here.
All right, so something unusual did happen on this play. So you can see the back judge retreats. It possibly was a surprise kick, but Team K, has first touching, and actually I'm not positive of that. If K did first touch the ball, now that I say that, then maybe they didn't. But what ends up happening is the ball settles on the ground, and then the return team player picks it up to hand it to the referee. Well, the referee did not blow the play dead, and therefore awards this ball, as if it was a fumble by R, and awards it to K. Yeah. And we collectively looked at this, and we really should make this what it is. You can see the umpire comes up to communicate what he saw. We really want this play to be over and not award the kicking team an unnecessary turnover here. Matt, do you have anything for back judges in this particular situation?
Well, the beginning of the play, he was perfect. He went to the goal line, that's the most important line on this play. And once we get there, we have no reason to move. If we don't walk up to the ball and the action that's happening, they're not gonna make something dumb and try to hand us the ball and cause this. But just stay on the goal line, let the play finish itself.
I think I'm getting sorry, I've got some guys trying to jump in here. If you're not a presenter, can you mute your phone, please? Okay, I'm going to move to the next play. I think we're all on board with that last one. So the next play, we're going to talk about a returner that runs after he signals fair catch. So in this case, the ball hits the ground. You have to believe me when I say number 29 actually signaled fair catch. He does it when he's off the screen. The back judge properly blows the play dead when he takes off running. I've seen some back judges actually throw a flag for a delay of game in this situation. I believe that's the proper call, if I remember right. I don't know that it's necessary to be overly critical in this, but certainly it's problematic for the kicking team to know that they can't hit this runner if they didn't see him signal a fair catch. So the back judge did a great job shutting this down. So I just wanted to show you some of the goofy stuff that 16-year-olds are capable of doing. Let me show it to you one more time. So the ball actually bounces. Here's Saucke coming in here. Ball bounces, he picks it up and tries to advance. Anything anybody have on that play that they'd want to add?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, the next play, we've got a similar situation where the return man is going to signal. You'll have to trust me again. Oh, no, this is the same play. This was the end zone shot. This next play I'm showing you is also a fair catch. And this one's a little bit problematic, and I'm surprised we don't see it more often. So let me describe what's going to happen. So we've got a punt play. The team in white is kicking to the team in blue. The screen should be showing you a yellow circle with a return man, actually an up return man. There's another return man behind him, and he's going to signal fair catch. You see his arm go up. He goes to catch it. The player behind him comes up and actually catches the ball and advances it. The player that is running with the ball right now has no idea that his fellow returner signaled fair catch. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to avoid this and what to do as a crew if this happens to us. So I'm going to start with Doug Lowe, because I think that might be where our wings can help the back judge in this situation. Doug, what do you have?
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. So again, as wings, we're looking for action in front of the ball. In order to see action in front of the ball, we have to be in good position. And as we spoke in previous topics, good positions for our wings as they move downfield is roughly half the distance from the line of scrimmage to where the ball is caught. And you can see both of our wings is almost straight lined to where the returner catches the ball. So in order for us to see action in front of the ball, we need to stop, set ourselves up, and start to look. And we're gonna take a peek at that up back to see if there was a fair catch in signal. So we can kill this play when he starts to take off there. So I think the point is don't move too far downfield, half the distance between the line of scrimmage and where the ball is caught, and look for action in front of the ball.
Let's go to Matt Miller. Matt, anything you could do different on this?
So we're in a good starting position. I mean, he's got an angle to see the hands, but we've got to have wide vision so we can see those two players and any kind of threat coming at those two players. The white guy right in the middle, we need to have eyes on him too. So I'm not really sure if he was shielded by the player in the back that we missed the fair catch, but we do have a beanbag down, and that's a good spot right there. So if somebody else, one of our teammates, has some information to bring to us, we can go right back to that 38-yard line with our beanbag to give them a first down right there.
So let me go to Letofsky. So Mike Letofsky is our white hat talking through this. So I can just imagine what's happening on the sideline. You've got the kicking team's head coach is watching. He sees a fair catch, and who knows, they may have seen it in the press box and radioed down. So Mike, you're gonna have an earful from the sideline. They're gonna be yelling, he waved his hand, he signaled fair catch. How could you let this happen? Talk through what you would try to do with that information from that point after the play's over.
Yeah, I think I'm going to preface it by saying this. It is drastically important as white hats that we pregame the kicking game every game. And we spend time with our crews talking about the kicking game, because there are so many things that can happen bad and good. So with that in mind, keep that in mind in the pre-games. In this situation, it would have been critical for the referee to listen to that coach and then bring those parties together that might have information as to whether or not they saw a fair catch signal, because it could have been just simply they didn't know. My two guys that are officiating this play right now don't know the rule that the up back who did signal doesn't mean that the other kid can't take it and run. They may not have known that. All right. So I think it's critical that you get kids to the sideline, you communicate with your partners, and then you're either gonna make that coach that brought that out real happy, or brought that to your attention real happy, or you're gonna have to explain it to him that, coach, this is a case that no one saw him signal, and this is the result of the play is going to be there on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I think that's great stuff, and I think if you have a coach that's screaming he signaled fair catch, there's a pretty good chance that happened. Now a wing or a back judge might say it wasn't big enough. I mean, that's a judgment call where it would not have been interpreted as a signal, but coaches usually don't make stuff like that up.
Unlike holding,
yes.
We also could have had a situation of a rules question as to whether or not that coach can take a timeout and whether he would be charged for that timeout or not, depending on what we ended up doing.
Yep. Agree. So if we overturn a ruling because of a rule error, we don't charge him.
Correct. And this might be one that we're not gonna charge you here either, coach, because we're putting it on the 5.
Yeah, it's just goofy. Okay, I'm going to jump to the next play. Okay, so this one is we're going to have a fair catch. Let somebody in here. Oh, Doug Lowe got dropped out. It looks like. Ignore was from a previous night's conversation. So what the thing I want to talk about here, Matt, and Doug Lowe, as I see the wing coming down very, very deep on this particular play. Matt, talk through this position, the back judge, and how he covers this fair catch and where he ends up at the end of the play.
So where he started at the 22-yard line in the center of the field, we have no reason to move from there. We were in perfect position to start the play. We can finish it from right there. We don't need to have the spot. We don't need to be standing on it. We can see it with our eyes. We can see the players. We know we're going to be there. We stay back, keep ourselves out of danger, and officiate the play. The less we move, the more we can see.
I like that, because I look at this and it just looks like he's getting in too close to the player. There's no reason to be right there on top of that return man. So I like your message there.
What happens if he muffs it right there? What happens if he doesn't catch it? And you're right on top of it. You just put yourself in a really bad situation.
Kirk, can I interject something there?
Please.
I think that's another pregame situation, that if we remind ourselves before every game that we're going to keep our depth, all right, and we're not going to rush to officiate plays. And if we can keep our depth on plays, we're going to see plays better.
Slow down.
So you can see about right here at the bottom of the screen, you can see the hat of the wing. And we talk over and over about how the depth of the wing official hurts us if he's getting downfield too far. Doug, talk through again where you want that wing to stop. And I think the next film that we show is the one that actually shows it done right. So talk again about where you would like this wing to be when this ball is caught.
Yeah, these mechanics, it's all about being in good position. And for a punt, good position is roughly half the distance between the line of scrimmage and where the ball is caught. And I like the hustle of the wing official, but it seems like he's hustling to spot the ball when there's really no reason to continue moving to get the spot. He should stop maybe, 5-10 yards back from where he was, look for action, and then move to the spot and square in. But again, the idea is about half the distance and stop.
So I advanced it to the next film clip because this is what we want wings that are on the call this evening. This is where we want you. And so you'll see the return man. He's at the 35-yard line. Back judge looks like he's in good position. The return's going to come upfield, and I'm going to stop it right here. So actually, I'm going to go a little bit further because I'm going to get the other wing on the screen. So right here, I'm not positive of the yard line that it was kicked from, but you can see the wing at the top, the wing at the bottom. They're about half the distance between the line of scrimmage and where the ball was caught. They are stationary, and they're officiating with good angle. Their eyes are set as this play starts to come upfield. This is picture perfect right now. So wings try to get this position on punts. Let me take it back all the way to the beginning. So we're going to snap it at the looks like about the 22-yard line. The wings release properly, and then they're going to get set up here at about the 40, right at the 48. So this is what we strive for, and I know we've barked about this multiple nights now, but anything else you guys see on this one? Otherwise, I'll jump forward to the next one.
This is exactly what we're looking for. Move to position and stop and officiate rather than continue to run and become out of position because suddenly you lose, all your angles and you're going to be right on top of the play where you're going to miss a lot.
So the only thing I'll add from the back judge is he did a good job at moving at a 45-degree angle. Whenever we're moving away from the ball, move at an angle, give yourself a chance to keep open vision and not get straight lined here. So he did a good job with this. He could have took a couple extra steps and got a little safer, but I'm okay with where he's at.
We were talking about the wings, and Ussery's constantly talking about having your shoulders parallel to the sideline and not squared off. And these wings, you can see that they're also open to the field. This is just a good look. So let's jump to the next play. So we're going to have a return towards the near sideline. And my message here is, I never want to be critical of fellow officials, but we need to learn when we see things that we can do better. And so you can see what happens here. And I'm going to admit, I've watched a lot of film around the state, and I see this way too much. The message has been conveyed somehow incorrectly that the line judge, yes, he leaves at the snap, but there's no reason to turn your head and just run down the sideline and stop officiating. And so I see this, I'm going to say 80% of the line judges on punts that I see around the state, I see this exact same thing. You see how the hats turn, and we're going to run as hard as we can all the way down the field to get even with the return man. Instead of officiating, stopping halfway like the last clip was, in this case, you can see how he's parallel with the runner. There's absolutely no reason to be this far down. I'm not sure he was able to really see all of that he needed to see in the process of getting downfield. And so if we can emphasize enough tonight to get in a proper position on these punts if you're a wing. And I even like to see a little bit of delay out of the line judge and not taking off at the snap to actually gather a little bit of information before you take off. You certainly are to be leaving, but don't stop officiating even the line of scrimmage too soon. And maybe you'll even catch a fake punt or a muff or not a muff, but a drop kick and a scramble. So slow down. I don't think I need to stay on that one any longer.
Hey, Kirk.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
Can you go back to the very beginning in the setup of the white hat? I think the white hat could be wider. I love where his depth is, but if that white hat was a little wider, nothing ended up happening, and that's a good thing. But if he was wider, he's not going to get straight lined on any situations if he's wider.
And I think that's been the theme as well. I think width is probably something we need to do better at as a white hat. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, let me jump to this next play. This is just kind of an out of ordinary situation where the kick is actually a short distance kick, and it happens to be a goofy situation. This is Columbine, and they have a habit of having their quarterback toss the ball. You can see the quarterback's under center, and he tosses it to the punter. This punter just happens to get a really terrible kickoff, and you can see it's caught by the return man. It's about the linebacker position. But then it actually turns into a lengthy run downfield. And so this is really just more emphasis that a lot of different stuff can happen. And this wing official does a great job adjusting back to the ball. But again, the referee can get this spot. The spot is not critical here.
there's a team that's just happy to have the ball in positive territory. The spot of the forward progress is not going to be debated on this type of play, or any punt for that matter.
Kirk?
Yes.
I think this is one of those things, again, part of a pregame conference with your coaches. What do you do different that we need to be aware of? And if this is one of those things, maybe, we talked earlier about the positioning of the umpire on a punt situation. If we had known before the game, if this crew had known before the game, this is how they run their punt, then maybe that umpire is not such in harm's way, or maybe he's not quite so close. And the referee, it appears as the referee knew, because he really backed off on that play.
That's a good point. Preparation. The more we can do to prepare, the better. Good comment. All right, now we're going to talk about long returns. And so this one is a play that takes us all the way back to the goal line, a long return. So everything looks pretty standard, although we've got a punter with his feet on the goal line. Return man catches it about the 50. Obviously a good athlete. Makes a couple moves, gets all the way down. What appears to be a possible touchdown. And I'll stop it closer to the end zone and talk through this. So panelists, think about some of the things that jump out at you here, if there are any.
Kirk, let me talk about a couple things here. This week, we're talking about end of kick to dead ball. So the umpire got a good 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, but he should be more wider than the referee or opposite of the referee. It seems like they're lined up pretty much right on top of each other. He could be a little bit more to his right. Now, the couple points I want to emphasize right here. Last week, we talked, as soon as the ball goes over the umpire's head, you should spin and start walking until the end of the kick. At the point that the kick ends, which is tonight's discussion, you stop. So really, everything tonight is the umpire is working from a stationary position, with the exception of a return, such as this, that is going past him. Then he has to start working down the field, working his halos and such. But under a normal punt that goes over your head, tonight's discussion could almost entirely be that the umpire stays in one stationary position. I'd also like to talk a little bit about air. We talk all the time, don't officiate air. But from an umpire's perspective, air could be a problem, especially on punt plays, when you start having people swimming upstream or coming across the middle of the field. And sometimes you can almost spot a headhunter just by their glow in their eyes or their action. They're looking for somebody, but nobody else is around them. That may be one time. If you see upstream swimmers or somebody in chase mode, keep an eye on him, because he's probably out headhunting.
Excellent. I love how this umpire is just like a statue here. Again, still eyes, letting everything come towards him, trying to pick up as much as he can in front of the ball carrier. Excellent job here.
And we never watch the returner catch the ball. We've got to concentrate and know and be aware when the kick ends, but we don't watch the returners at all, especially on deep punts.
And sometimes, Scott, you can probably catch maybe the ball coming down, hitting a foot. And last week, we talked about telling yourself at that kick, who's kicking, black, white, who's kicking, who's receiving. You repeat that in your pre-snap. Sometimes you can, as you spin, you might be able to catch the ball touching somebody and bring some information to the crew if you need it.
There you go.
So I'm going to show you what happens at the end of this play. And so our wing, you can see he has adjusted. He's coming downfield. He's got the sideline covered. Long way to travel here. But he's going to rule on this sideline. Our white hat has moved to the position we expect the white hat to be. Somebody say something?
No, keep going.
We're going to have a player step out of bounds at the 2. And so just as in when we have a back judge that has goal line responsibility, our wing here would signal with signal I if that runner crossed the goal line without stepping out of bounds. And so the white hat's going to delay his signal, waiting for that wing. And in this case, the wing is going to signal timeout, which would tell the white hat, I don't have a touchdown. There's no way my wing's going to signal timeout and me go up with a score. So we always talk about slowing down. So Letofsky, do you have anything you'd add here?
Yeah, I think what this guy did, or it appears if you play this out a little bit, you can see him turn his head towards his wing guy to get the information. And I think that's critical. I like the guy's depth on this play. He can see kids going out of bounds and all that. But the critical thing is whether he stepped out of bounds or not. I would have liked him to have been on the goal line instead of getting there on this play. But I love the fact that he looked to his partner to get information as whether the kid stepped out of bounds or not. So he didn't have to signal touchdown and then wipe it off. So I thought he did a real good job there.
Lo, you good?
Yeah, I like the way the line judge plays this almost all the way. From the snap, it wasn't a track meet. He didn't release and bolt down there quickly. Took a peek. He might have gone a little bit too deep. By the time this kid has the ball, he should have been stationary already, but he's continuing to move towards the play as the ball is caught. So he's a little deep and still moving. That's the only thing that'd be critical on this one. He's in good position at this point, but he's still moving. And as the play goes downfield, he's waiting. Again, he's looking for action in front of the ball. He's not watching the ball carrier, which is, what we're trained to do. And then he lets the play go by him.
Very good. Somebody should probably comment that we got a lot of looky-loos on the sideline. It must be at Grandview. All right, so we're going to have – this is the same one. Actually, I think this might have 3 angles.
I love the angle of that referee on that play right there.
Oh, right here? Yep, and good. Yeah, I agree with Scott. I think if our umpire would line up wider, there's probably less traffic as well. And again, this is the original mechanic, not the mechanic in the backfield. Okay, so here we're going to have another long return, and so we'll watch the mechanics. I think our umpire could be deeper and wider again.
Yes, he definitely needs to be deeper.
Deeper and wider. So we're going to have a long return, another good athlete making it happen. We're always looking for this right here. I think we should just assume there's going to be a blindside block when we get a long return like this. So if you haven't found it yet, we're going to look right here. This guy right here is going to make a name for himself. And I said in our prep work that this is really hard for the umpire to see. And a lot of times, a coach will say, you were standing right there. How could you miss it? And it's difficult for us to see as umpires, to see stuff like this fly right across your face and happen. It's got to get picked up from this, either this wing official or even the referee could probably be looking back into this play.
For those of you that need a definition, here's an upstream swimmer right there.
We got red, the return team red, swimming upstream, kaboom. And that's a dangerous hit. So here, my comment might be, our wing, Doug, is really focused on running downfield instead of officiating. I might be a little critical here. At what point the runner is not threatening the sideline? So I think about right here, we're officiating nothing.
Oh, as a matter of fact, you probably go back another 15 yards easily. There was no reason. I like the hustle; it's great, but why does he have to be straight line with the runner? He could have stopped a long time ago to watch that blindside block coming, but he's too busy looking downfield to catch the runner. So if he would have just stopped right here, he can see the action so much better. I think he's watching the ball carrier.
Certainly the sideline is important for that wing official, but the fact of having to get to a goal line or get that perfect forward progress spot is of no significance on a punt play. If we can get the ball within 2 yards of where a punt returner is tackled, we're doing good.
It's to Matt's point earlier. We're going to cover much more distance with our eyes than our legs. Just stop and use those eyes and watch. There's no good reason to be moving at this time.
I would suggest that the referee wait till the young man crosses the goal line and the ball crosses the goal line before he signals.
So, Mike, do you think the 2-yard line is too early? I noticed that too. So looks like the runner's at the 2, and we were declaring him in the end zone here. Wait.
And my question might have been, when did he blow his whistle? Did he blow his whistle as he signaled? Let's put this ball on the 2-yard line instead, right? I mean, to have a little patience. I loved how he hustled for sure.
Yeah, he's in great position. Got a pretty signal, but probably a little early. We always joke about if it's a touchdown, it'll be a touchdown 2 seconds later. So let's slow it down. Now, what about, let's go a little deeper. Let's say, Mike, you saw this snot bubble hit right here, this blindside block. Are you going to, and you threw a flag. So let's say you launched your flag 20 yards, tried to get that call.
Yep.
Are you going to stand on the goal line and signal touchdown after throwing the flag?
No.
If I know, Kirk, for sure that foul was on the return team, I wouldn't have signaled.
A flag official should not signal touchdown if you know something like that is coming back.
Yep. I like it. All right, let me jump to the next play if we're good on this one. Let's see. I think that might be the same. A little tighter. Okay, so here we're going to talk, going back to what happens after the kick. And this doesn't perfectly apply to the post-kick window because the possession doesn't occur. So the team in white is returning the ball. The return man muffs the ball. So the ball is bouncing around. There's a panic. We've got a wing official again that's too deep. But we've got to scramble for a football. And so the conversation that I'd like to have here is what do we want to look like in this situation? So at this moment, it's obvious that the wing official needs to dig because he's not certain who has that football. And it looks like our umpire is coming down to help dig as well. I'll see if I can just let this play normal speed. Looks like the back judge is looking at it saying, I'm going to stay back here and dead ball officiate, see if I can find somebody doing something stupid. And I think that's excellent mechanic. No reason to have more than 2 guys in a pile there. Umpires are always good at getting in there to dig this ball out as well. So the conversation, Mike, talk about what you would like to see. We've obviously got communication. I'm guessing one of the diggers is saying, I've got a white ball, I've got a white ball, I've got a white ball. The white hat comes down, is helping clean things up. What do you want to see here as a white hat and a crew team?
I'm going to tell you, all 3 of those guys could work with me in this particular play because the right guy was trying to dig the ball out. The umpire was tapping kids to get off the pile instead of trying to dig underneath the pile. I like that. And I think that the back judge stayed back to dead ball officiate and not make matters worse by coming in and that sort of thing. And I think they all reacted well at the end and let the white hat come down and signal the direction so that they didn't signal incorrectly. So
just as we said a moment ago, it'll be a touchdown 2 seconds later. The white team will have the ball 2 seconds later also.
I think there's times. Yeah, I think there's times when the white hat should be signaling direction. There are other times that the back judge is going to signal direction, right? And this is one of those cases. I think it was proper that the white hat signaled the direction.
I've made the point that I think anytime we have diggers, I think it looks best if the white hat signals when we've got that pile of bodies and we're digging. Let's let the white hat get in there and ultimately signal. There's too much opportunity to signal the wrong way. Again, don't get in a hurry. Let the drama build a little bit on who's coming with that ball. The other thing I might point out, umpires, be very careful. One thing that I learned early on in my career, you don't want to stand over the top of a player that's going to come out of that pile with his helmet straight up into your chin. I'm a big fan of laying on top of the player that's underneath me to make sure my weight is enough to keep him from jumping straight up into my grill. So something to note. The other thing that we talked about on this play, it's not unusual when a play ends like this so close to the sideline. We got a lot of transitional players going in and out of the field. It's really tough to keep the peace. And if this turns into a scrum because somebody pulls the opponent off and talks trash, you can see the white hat coming in here trying to get some separation from players. We just have to be on high alert in this situation.
Well, it looks like number 49 just about got the chin of the umpire anyway, right here, as soon as he steps up.
Yep. Get your body, as an umpire, get your body weight on top of that guy. It'll help keep him off of you. All right.
Okay, so
Anybody else?
That dude, you'll crush the fucker.
we need to kill the clock. Somebody needs to kill the clock.
Good
Kind of
point.
hard to tell if that back judge did or didn't, isn't it?
Yes, it is hard, but I mean, just so we're aware of that we can't see it. So
Good catch.
somebody needs to kill the clock.
Good catch, Matt.
Did somebody else have a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say, as we're digging and we find or make a determination that a color has the ball, we should just notify and say white ball, white ball, white ball, and sometimes that helps get players off the pile, knowing that it's over, and then communicate that to the white hat,
Great.
whoever has the ball.
Yeah, just notifying that the referee comments who has the ball kind of shuts down the wrestling match. That's a great wisdom there. Okay, so here, this is, I think every night so far in our punt mechanic discussion, we're showing a play, and I'm going to take you back. So now that you've kind of seen what's happening here, so the team in gray jerseys punting the ball to the team in white. The return man in white is going to muff the kick, and it's going to roll into the end zone, and the kicking team is going to fall on it, and our back judge is going to signal.
Oh.
So everybody should start the game with the statement that a kick ball cannot be scored by the kicking team. It is not possible. If that ball is still in a kick status, meaning it has not been possessed, it is not possible for the kicking team to receive a touchdown. Okay? We have to be 100% on this piece of knowledge. We won't make that mistake again. That's my mission. So I'm not going to beat that dead horse anymore tonight, but you get the point. The ball's kick status, it cannot be scored by the kicking team. All right, the next one we've got this one isn't necessarily over unique, but it is a return that has a fumble that occurs out of bounds on the near sideline. I think we've got a wing that's on the field. We'd like to be working off the field. He's way too deep again. And we're going to see the ball come towards him and get stripped and fumbled out of bounds, and the play ends a little bit abrupt. I would hope that his eyes are not focused on the location where this ball is fumbled out of bounds. We've said it many times, this spot is not a critical spot. And so he's got a dead ball officiate. He certainly needed to see whether that ball was actually stripped before his knee was down or not. I'll slow it down here. And I think Doug Lowe's comments all along have been excellent, that if we're half the distance and we're going to be able to see a lot more here. Matt, do you have anything for this back judge on this play?
I wouldn't come up and attack the play like we did. I would kind of banana around and keep my distance with my angles, because we're gonna start picking up the players on the backside of the runner, and those blocks, the line judge here is going to take the runner because he's already in position with him. And so we're just going to be ball officiating, really, making sure nothing cheap happens behind the play.
One of the things I noticed different by this back judge is he runs up and drops the beanbag. I like that. Yep. I've never back judged, so I hate to be critical of back judges, but I see a lot of times back judges will launch that beanbag about 5 yards. I like this approach where he comes up and drops it where the return started. That shows a lot of moxie here.
Kirk, one more thing. It's not necessarily with this play, but umpires and, well, even the wings too on punt plays, when a runner reverses his direction, also be prepared for everything to go smoothly to just horribly wrong. A reverse direction by a runner means nothing good is going to happen with blocking techniques.
Your antenna is up on the reverse direction.
So again, on our line,
threats.
Go ahead, Matt, and then Doug, you jump in.
We have 22 here in the blue that just hits 56. We don't have. I mean, who has eyes on that? Hopefully, the umpire. We just got to make sure we're watching our halos and we're officiating threats and not officiating the ball carrier.
Umpires have no need to be looking at the returner at all.
and these are our wings. we should be watching action in front of the ball. It looks like this line judge is watching the returner. If he would have stopped around the 45-yard line and let the action come to him, he probably would have picked up all of these bad blocks.
Okay, so I'm going to skip that one. We got a couple plays. We got about 15 minutes. It is very common for these punt plays to have a block in the back right in front of the return man. And so we've talked a lot about where the wings can set up and see, and whether the back judge ignore the knickers. This was actually a group, I believe, that officiated in knickers last year. Even though this is a 2019 film, it does look older just because of the knickers. But at this moment, there's not nothing to officiate here by the back judge. But we don't want to watch the return man, because there's nothing that's going to happen to him. So we're probably looking up here. We probably have help from the two wings as well. This just looks like it's going to be a suspicious situation right here, doesn't it?
That's a player in chase mode.
A player in chase mode.
That's what we look for.
You're absolutely right. The first or closest defender to a returner is probably more apt to be violated with an illegal blocking technique. The person closest to the returner is getting the anticipation of the blockers to say, I want my returner to get a little bit more. Be wary of that close proximity to the returner and bad action against those people.
And don't stop officiating, even down here. This nonsense can be picked up by the white hat, keeping a broad vision of what's going on. I think anybody have anything that they want to talk about on this play? I've got a couple more block in the backs that we can check out if you have a chance to hold your comment to it. So here is a kick from the goal line. Now, this had a question mark block in the back, and I think we go back to our mechanics. Wings, if we're still, maybe we set up and we see we're set up before this contact actually happens, we might recognize that this is not a block in the back. And you can even read by the body of the player that's getting blocked, he falls on his back. That's a pretty good indication he didn't get blocked in the back. This blocker got his hands inside the front of the shoulder pad. That is a legal block.
Once again, it's the closest player to that returner that is going to get some bad action on him. 2 plays in a row now.
And it's something to think about here. Where are everybody's eyes in that stadium, except for ours, is on that block right there. We got to get that one right. They're not looking back here. Even the father of that kid right there, he's looking at this action right here, going, "Oh no, don't block him in the back. Don't do it." And so those of us that are responsible for that are probably saying the same thing. Now we can even come in and call an official off and say that was not a block in the back if we did have a flag on. Anybody else got anything on this one?
No. Officiate threats, don't officiate error.
Don't officiate error. And get set. I love that. If we can get set up as wings, I think we are so much stronger with still eyes as this play comes toward us. So here's another block in the back play question. You're going to see it the same location right here. I'll back it up, and hopefully it's fluid enough on your end. I know we've had some bandwidth issues. Now, he does fall forward. I'm not so sure he got him in the back. But, again, this evening's not about judgment and challenging whether it's correct or not. It's, are we in the best position we can be in to make the call? Because we've got a lot of moving bodies, 22 moving bodies and a lot of field to cover. And so we got to help ourselves out by our mechanics. Anybody else on this one?
So it looks like the back judge is sticking with the runner, and we're not officiating a threat. So if we would have stuck with that, the two players, coming up field right here, both red players, 2 white players, we have white on the ground, that would catch my eye. That's something that I would see, that I'd hope I'd see. So we got to make them keep wide, don't get so close that we're taking ourselves out of the play.
You're saying your eyes should be upfield.
Yeah, I mean, the runner has the ball. What's going to happen to him right now? Is he going to foul himself? So we shouldn't be watching him. We should be watching the threats.
Yep.
I thought the line judge was in good position for this, and I think he was watching action in front. I don't think he's the one who tossed the flag. I think it's the back judge tossed the flag on this one.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
probably the line judge is probably a little deep again.
Not horrible, but just I think we set up, we're going to be better off.
All right, let's jump to the next one here. This one, I was trying to find players in the bench area play. I know there's probably a lot of them. I just wasn't something at my fingertips. And this one's not necessarily a real bad one, but if you think about it, a lot of times the players on punt team, punt return, kickoff, kick return, those kind of special teams are players that are not starters. They're trying to make a name for themselves. And when it's time to go into the bench area, I think, again, we're spread out across the field as it is on these punt plays. We just have to be on triple alert when these knucklehead players go into the bench. You can see I actually circled a player here to watch because we're going to have a blindside block, number 45 on number 70, before they go into the bench area. So we gotta be watching outside the runner, watching that halo, as Saucke keeps reminding us. And if they do go into the bench, we've got to close in fast because it can get pretty ugly with these players that are on the field.
Well, think about your wings once more. If you're going to be running down the sideline and you're not stopping, a lot of transition I have seen occurs while the play is a little bit still in progress. So you're going downfield and 3 or 4 players off that bench are getting ready to come in on either offense or defense, and they're just flat out in your way, and you might get a collision with a wing.
Yep.
yeah, again, I like the hustle. The headlines is trying to get a spot, but if we just slow down and set up, we probably could have picked up this blindside block because really there wasn't a whole lot of white players in that area in front. So who's he officiating there? I'm not sure. Right here, he should be looking at in front.
That's the classic thing that umpires should be looking for right there. This is what umpires are looking for. Number 45.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't had a wing throw a flag on that on the opposite side of the field.
Absolutely. Some backside officiating. There you go.
Okay, so we're going to have a long return down the sideline. I picked this one out, and I know we've kind of exhausted the blindside block plays, but this one's interesting. You'll see the action right here. I think this is the player that's going to get hit. So we've got a long return. Everything seems to be moving properly. Coming up the sideline, and what happens here is that wing official on that far side, the head linesman, he's going to have this action right at his doorstep, and it is tough to see much when everything you've got players coming at your legs. You probably have a chain crew right behind you. He certainly is not going to be able to pick up this blindside block right here. And so again, I think Letofsky, you probably have that from your position as a white hat.
Absolutely.
Maybe the umpire sees this as well, but don't expect the wing official. If you're a newer official, don't expect to be able to catch this because it's in your face. You can't see that. Can't see the whole thing develop.
Yeah, I think the wing, got caught up in the action. Part of being caught up, he's right on the sideline. Take 1, 2, 3 giant steps back, and again, give yourself some distance so you don't get rolled up on. In addition, is going to widen your field of view. I think he's, right on the sideline.
Work wide. Anybody else got anything on this one? We've hammered the blindside block. This one is a similar situation. We're going to end up with a hold right in front of the return man. So we've got a returner catching the ball. I think Matt, the mechanic, might not be a good angle here. But I think the point, just like the blindside blocks happen right here, this particular play, we end up with a hold in front of the return man. And it's a little bit grainy to see what happens here. Let me see if I can stop it. So he ends up getting cloth here, and it allows the return man to get an angle outside. You can actually see the cloth. The wing throws a flag on it. So we did catch it, which is good.
This type of hold, similar to a scrimmage down and a run around the side or to the perimeter, it doesn't take much to spring a runner. These types of holds can just launch a runner for a big, big gain with just a minor hold.
And again, that's where everybody in the stands' eyes are. They can officiate this one for us because they see it happening. They see that developing from where they are. So we've got to get these right. Critical plays. This one is our last one, and so it's just about the time. So this is going to be every once in a while we see a team that does this razzle-dazzle stuff, and in this case they do it correctly. They cannot hand the ball forward. That would be a problem if he handed it forward, but he hands it back, hands it off to his partner who runs up the sideline. We're going to end up with a little bit of a wrestling match here downfield with a couple big guys, and we have a flag thrown by the umpire. Signals stop the clock, and I'm going to play this out. We have a player. Let me back it up a little bit. Sorry, jumped the wrong way. So we're going to have a flag down. It might even be two flags down right here. And then you can see how the film actually jumps to the officials. And look what you got here on the near side. What I wanted to show you in this particular situation, I like that the crew got the players to the sideline because they've got a complicated foul to administrate here. And so they said, go to the sideline. You've got a coach here posing like, oh, you guys are a bunch of idiots and I'm getting screwed. We got to get it right. This crew does a good job. But what I want you to do is evaluate their body language as we watch through here. Is there a better way? And I don't have an answer to this. I just want you all to think about what is the best way for us to look in this kind of situation, because they're dealing with, I believe, multiple fouls. I think they've got a hold. They've got a face mask on that same action. I think the hold was on one player and the face mask was on the opponent, so they're going to wipe those off. And then I think they end up with a dead ball personal foul after the play was over. And so, again, I'm showing you this as we finish up our little clinic tonight to just show what all of this looks like when you're sitting in the stands. And I'll run this through all the way to the end, and it'll give us the same angle, and we'll watch the crew process all this information. So again, is this what we want this to look like?
No.
I don't know. Who said no? Is that Matt?
That's me.
Oh, Mike?
Personally, I would have liked the guys that threw the flags to communicate with whatever they're doing and then come to the referee and explain what's going on. It appeared like maybe, because it didn't appear like the referee had thrown his flag. And them communicating, then bring it to the referee. The referee does all his signaling right where nobody in the stands could see him because of the official that's charting stuff right there. He's standing right in front of him. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a good comment, Mike. I didn't really have an explanation of how we could do it better. I noticed it, and I think we as officials, when all eyes are on us, I always say we have to look our best. And this didn't look our best. And I don't have an answer how we can look better. And I think you have given us a good piece of advice. If the foul or the flag throwing officials would get their communication taken care of and then bring it to the white hat, as opposed to inundating the white hat here with all of the information, it might look better. But then again, I don't know that I would want the white hat standing at the 30-yard line waiting for them to do all this processing. So again.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kirk. But all he had to do is take a couple steps back and clear it, so that let those guys sort it out. And then if you need me, because sometimes we as white hats want to stick our nose in where it really sometimes doesn't belong.
There you go.
Maybe the white hat should be over here talking to the head coach, assuring him that we'll get it all sorted out, coach, and we're not going to screw you.
Where's the fifth official at?
I think he might have the spot. I did see somebody maybe at the end of the run. That official might be down here with the ball.
Or is he all the way across the field?
I think he might be down here with the ball.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to end on something that's a negative. I know this is an outstanding crew. They got the flags right and they administered the foul right. I just want us to be conscious when eyes are on us. How can we be looking perfect? And we can always get better. So that's the last clip I've got, gentlemen. My presenters, thank you. You guys are awesome, and everybody else that joined us tonight. I know you guys have probably got 100 other things you could do. I appreciate you staying focused on football this year, and I still think we're getting closer and closer to having a season. So thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks for all your efforts, Kirk.
Thanks, Kirk. Have a good night.
Thank you.